Okay, you guys, let's do this. It's going to be so professional. Like, so professional. Here we go. Welcome to the Laugh Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and Colson, a couple of clean comedians who support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. I hope you're ready. Get set. Let's go. Since podcasts have a catchy tune, we wrote this song for Michele and June. Clean comedians are best friends too. Oh, that's so good. And you never know what they'll say or do. Here we go, sing with me on Laugh Support, with Michele who's really short. We'll have a ball, with June who's really tall. They have fun, interviewing comedians on Laugh Support, with Michele who's really short. Now it's time to start Laugh Support.
The Laugh Support Podcast, brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network.
Wow, give yourself a round of applause. Woo! That was magic.
Welcome to the award-winning Laugh Support Podcast. I'm your host, June Bug Colson, here with Michele with 1L, Trisha's sister, Rhonda Corey's friend. Don't call me Shelly, Michele VanDusen.
Hey! What's going on, girl? It's good to see you.
The sun is shining, VanDusen. The sun is shining. It's a good day.
Oh, thank God for the sun and like less wind. It's been so windy. So windy. It's been crazy here. I know you guys catch a lot of stuff after we have, but we've had, I don't say we, but the state of Oklahoma had all these horrible wildfires.
Yeah.
Our fence, boom, down again. Our neighbor's fence is on our shed. It's still on our shed. Now we can see a whole nother neighbor behind because we get to see through the fence to the part that's down on that side. It's been so good. So good. But today's a great day because we have a great guest today. We've got you, we got me, and we got our listeners. And I just want to shout out to all our new listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. And make sure you return for other shows because we have such a great podcast and great season. So there you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our last guest was Griff, which was a really cool, super fun podcast. Got to talk to him a little bit afterwards. And it was cool to have him on. We have more guests lined up for the season that are going to be awesome. So that's exciting. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the weather has calmed down a little bit for you in Oklahoma, but that's true. Whatever you get, it usually ends up here the next day. And we kind of had that going on. My son Trey was actually flying out of Nashville to go to Mexico the morning that all the storms were hitting. And thank goodness that they made it. Their flight took off before it all hit. And they managed to get to their vacation spot. I don't have Snapchat because, I'm a grown up. But
this is my Snapchat, baby.
Yeah, that's the closest, right? But I talked to my oldest son, Ty, and I text Trey and I was like, how you doing? Whatever. And he was like, against all odds, we made it here. And then last night I talked to Ty and he said that Trey's girlfriend had Snapchatted Trey in one of the pools doing water aerobics with all the elderly people. So that's the only time I wish that I had Snapchat. I would have loved to see my 6'3" tatted up muscular dude doing water aerobic with somebody's grandmother. So yeah, speaking of tattoos and grandmothers, I did go to pick up my dog the other day from Trey's grandmother, Jason's mother, and she was a little rattled because Trey has now got like a sleeve tattoo, like the full sleeve tattoo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she didn't know quite what to do with that. But she said, I told him, that's fine. You keep doing them tattoos. But if you come here with something in your nose. So apparently that's where Nana Connie draws the line is nose rings. So I don't know.
Really? Okay. To me, I would just say just no tats on the face. Just keep that clear. Like even if it's just collar and below, fine. Just that.
I'm not a fan of the neck tattoo or the face necessarily, but
or on the hands. I don't mind arms, legs, torso, whatever. All the rest of the body, cover it up. That's what I do with my my clothing anyway. I just cover it all up.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Tattoo to each his own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess if it's your face and that's what I told her. I was like, it's his body. He's a grown up. He can put tattoos on
Yeah.
whatever, wherever. He's the, he's the person who, reaps the benefits or the struggles of whatever he decides to permanently print on his flesh. I don't know. I've always said if I got a tattoo, I'm getting a Shar-Pei puppy on my belly.
Why?
I've said this before, haven't I? Because my belly, I had 2 10-pound babies. You know what I mean? And so my belly is not that pretty anymore. And Shar-Pei puppies are wrinkle puppies. So I feel like it's the only tattoo that as you age will just get better. The more wrinkles, Michele, the better the tattoo looks. A wrinkle puppy.
Yeah. I love the fact that you're like, I had a cute belly.
I had.
I'm like, I've never. Now, I did have one friend who had a piercing in her belly button.
Yes.
And she put like a neon bright little stud there. And I was like, you are the bravest woman I know, because she swims in lakes and stuff. And there's a lot of fish and bass that like shiny things. And I'm like, I can't do that. No. Anyway, so.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How weird. Yeah.
So I want to talk really quick because this will air Thursday. What is today? Today's 17th.
Today is the Irish Day. That's why I wore green. Right?
St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. Well, I've got my Funny Together t-shirt on that's got, kind of a shade of green, and I have some green earrings in. But the next holiday after St. Patrick's Day is April Fool's Day.
Actually, St. Joseph's Day comes before that, but go ahead.
Okay, sure. So April Fool's Day is coming up, and I am going to get to do a show in Philadelphia, an April Fool's Day show. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be live, and we'll get some broadcast information about it and share about it again later. But it's going to be live at my friend Kevin Hackenberg's house, actually, which sounds bizarre. Like, if I do comedy and someone says, hey, come do comedy at my house, like, look into that first. I mean, there are house shows, but look into it. But anyway, he's been doing this show, I guess, 6 years or something.
Wow.
And they get sponsors for it. They pay the comedians and they broadcast it for free. And it's just kind of his heart to give free comedy to the world and clean comedy. So it's cool. Marty Simpson is on the lineup. Okay. And Marty was one of the first kind of comedy writing mentors that I ever had for like 2.5 years. He did a thing called Punchline in Pajamas, where we would write together like every single week. And a lot of my original material came out of that writing group, which is super cool. So he's going to be on the show. Go ahead.
The Punchlines in Pajamas. Pajamas were optional. Like, I mean, well, you had to wear clothes. You had to wear clothes because it was an online thing, but you didn't have to wear pajamas.
Thanks for clarifying.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just made that into a whole different visual, Michele. No,
I did. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you had to wear clothing, not necessarily pajamas, but there were some times people did wear pajamas in that group.
Yeah, we should just get our guest on. I'm sorry. I'm messing everything up right now. I'm just. Yeah.
So anyway, so that'll be broadcast live, and we'll get information about that coming up. And so I'm super excited about that, and also because Tommy Davidson is actually closing out that show. Ooh, nice. And Tommy Davidson, if you were an In Living Color fan like I was back in the day, like a junkie, loved In Living Color. He was one of the stars of that show. And so, I followed him for a really long time. So I'm excited to get to do that show with him. So we'll definitely do that information again on the next podcast. And then maybe, we'll add it later on to some show notes. So there's that. So our guest, Michele.
Yes.
Our guest arrived in the green room. Is she
Yes, our guest. Okay, so I'm going to go. I remembered to write an intro today. So I know because I've been messing up this season. Okay, so our guest today is an award-winning comedian. She performs for conferences, fundraisers, women's events, clubs, coffee houses, churches. She was the 2018 Clean Comedy Challenge winner. She has a dry bar special called The Wizard of Walmart. Her name has been announced on this podcast more than June's dad hot dog. So let's welcome to the Laugh Support Podcast for a real Rhonda Corey moment, the creator of the Funny Together Tour, Rhonda Corey. Woo, woo,
Look, oh, that looks funny. My hands are blurred too. That's if anybody's listening, I blurred my background. Because some things you don't want to see in in full living color. Living color. Did you see how I did that? I brought that back with the whole, that's what I do.
Awesome.
I know.
Loved it. Look, Rhonda, what t-shirt are you wearing right now, Rhonda Corey?
Well, I know you can't really see my t-shirt as much, but I am wearing my Funny Together Tour t-shirt as well.
And I am. And I suggested we all wear them, but someone has to be a rebel on the show today. Michele, what's up?
Okay, so I'm wearing a shirt from Jill Weller, who was at our last show, a Funny Together Tour last show. And so this is the shirt she made for me. I'm only talking to Jesus today. I thought it was a Funny Together moment, and that's why I put it on. So yeah. Okay. So it's not the Funny Together shirt, but it's this one. So
but you got it from the Funny Together show. So
did.
That's awesome. And it says you're only talking to Jesus today, and you're actually talking to Rhonda Corey and myself today, which makes you lying today with a Jesus t-shirt on. That's messed up, isn't it, Rhonda?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, you're talking to Jesus? I don't think so. I really don't. You know what? But it's okay. It's okay. Well, we're not judging you.
I could add Jesus's sisters on there. I just, sisters today, talking to the sisters. No.
All right,
we're in his family. We're in his family. We're siblings.
Yes, we are family members.
Okay, so that's awesome. I'm glad we got that out of the way. Rhonda, welcome to the Laugh Support Podcast, where we mention your name every single week. We have a Rhonda Corey moment. It's very special. We know you're probably our most loyal listener. And it has been a little while since you've been on the show, and a ton of things have unfolded in your life since the last time that you came to hang out with us. So obviously today we're going to be talking about the Funny Together Tour. So let's just start with you explaining to our listeners exactly what the Funny Together Tour is and how it got started.
Okay. So the Funny Together Tour is a clean comedy tour that is made for churches or a venue that wants a clean show. But our content is church appropriate. That doesn't necessarily mean there are church jokes, but it's all clean content. And so clean enough for a church, but funny enough for a club. So we have an array of comedians on the tour, men and women. So it's some of my favorite people. And so how lucky am I to work with, not only amazing, professional, funny comics, but they're also my friends. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I love that you said that it's clean enough for a church and it's funny enough for a club. Because a lot of times I think people, they have this misunderstanding that if it's clean comedy, it's not funny. And we talk about this all the time on the show, and especially with, veteran clean comedians, is that it's such a strong art form, and you really do have to write smarter and work harder in your craft when you don't lean on foul language and things like that. And it's really cool because we do have a pool of friends that are just excellent in their craft. And I've got to see your shows unfold where you're bringing in so many just powerhouse comedians and the lineup, and the fact that you can do a women's event because you have, such a great group of female comedians, but then also the tour is it's for everybody. It's men and women and different venues. When you started doing this, Rhonda, what was probably like your biggest challenge as you tried to launch the Funny Together tour?
One challenge? Several challenges. There were several challenges. I think, when anything is in its beginning stages, and I still think we are still at our, in our baby stages, it's just branding the Funny Together tour and just getting the name out there, and just, especially because we're in churches, churches are a little hesitant sometimes, because a lot of the comedians that I work with aren't the big names, in Christian comedy. It's not the Tim Hawkins and the Shonda Pierce and the Michael Juniors that everybody pretty much knows who they are in that field, right? In the Christian comedy world. So, but it's comedians that are very funny, very talented, that maybe you never heard of. And so the churches are a little hesitant because they're unsure. You're representing the church when you're up on the platform, up on the stage, right? You're representing their church, and they're afraid of and maybe they've gotten burned before, had comedians on the stage that maybe used inappropriate language or innuendo. And you're representing that church, and ultimately you're representing Jesus, when you're standing up there. So I think that is a barrier that needs to, that we need to get over, and we've booked, we're continuing to book lots of shows, and so that's exciting. So I think that's one of the main barriers, is just, getting that trusted brand name out there.
Yeah, and Michele, so both of us have been able to do shows with Rhonda. You've done several of the Funny Together shows. When you think about getting to perform and do shows with Rhonda and on this tour, what do you enjoy most about being a part of this group of comedians that get to do the Funny Together shows?
Oh, wow. That is a great question. Part of what I love the most about working with Rhonda is the fact that she has high quality comedians, and it's like a family reunion, basically, because no matter which comedian that you get paired up with, or who's on the show, it's exciting to see. And it's so encouraging to watch each other just do jokes. You're like, oh, I didn't hear that one yet. That one's so good. Or, oh, you changed it this way. That's so funny. It's so much fun. And the people are always welcoming, and it's clean. It's fun. You don't feel like you have to take a shower when you're done. You know how you've gone to some, like, because I do a lot of stuff in clubs, and you just like, ugh. But then working with Rhonda, it's top notch, and it's so great like that. I think, what is there, Rhonda, like 19 different comedians that you have a choice, to pick, to pair up and pick across the country, kind of a thing. And I love every time that I get to do a show with you. So thank you. Thank you so much for including me in on this tour, because you could have, you pick whoever you want to. It's your show. And thank you for choosing to allow me to be on the show. So thank you.
Rhonda, that's probably that's probably the benefit for you too, is that you do have options, and you do have the choice of the people that you get to work with, that you want to work with, right?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of times you're put on a show, and you are put on that show, and you don't have a choice of who you get to stand next to. Who gets to go before you, who gets to go after you. And so that is a great benefit, that I get to work with my friends, I mean, how fun is that? And especially because, we live all over the states, right? And so normally we would not get to see each other in person anyway. We might be able to see each other online, but we can't see each other in person, and we get to actually hang out together. So that's another benefit, because you're only at the venue for a few hours, but it's the hours away from that venue that, you're spending in hotels or, or Airbnbs, whatever it may be. And you get to just hang out and go out to eat together and just have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and help each other too. It's encouraging. It's a great thing.
I think that changes the dynamic of the show too. When you have people who really like each other and get along together and are excited to be around each other, it's just, you're bringing that energy into the green room. You're bringing that energy to the show when it's like, oh my gosh, the event that we just did. So myself and Rhonda and Michele did a girls' night out at a theater, and we got to spend time together. And then the next night, we did a show with Joey ILO, and that was exciting to get to see Joey, and somebody that we've all performed with before, but don't get to spend time together. So I think that's awesome, that dynamic, and the personalities of everyone as well. So that's a great formula for putting together a good show. Their material. This is not a blind thing that you're going into and going, well, maybe this person and maybe that. You really have that insight from doing comedy for quite a while with these different people, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what I love too is the diversity in the comedians. We have, someone who's coming from the South, someone who's coming from the East Coast, someone who's coming from other places. I'm not good with geography. Anyway, let's just say they're all different. So what's nice about that is if you're watching as an audience member, there's going to be one or two people that you really click with and relate to. I mean, you're going to get 3 great comics on the show, but there's going to be one that just really, oh, I get that person, and that's what's nice, because it's that diversity, on the lineups.
Mm-hmm. Is there something that surprised you when you started the tour? I usually like to ask people when they're doing something new, is there something that you were like, whoa, I didn't expect that to be this fun or that to be this hard? Like, is there something that you were like, I didn't predict that being an issue?
I don't know if I predicted or not, but there's a lot of work on the back end, and there's a lot of admin work. And there's a lot of tracking and things like that for me, that's not the fun part. I mean, I actually like talking to the bookers. Like I enjoy that, whoever books the show, I like that part. But there are a lot of different, elements behind, it's putting all the paperwork together and right. The emails back and forth and the, all the things. And, as a creative, that it's much easier to walk into a show that's being produced by someone else, and you just get to just pour it all out on the stage, but when you're producing the show and performing, you're running the show as well as performing. And so it's just developing different systems so that, I learn from every single show. Okay, this worked really well. I'm going to do this again. And let's see how I can improve on that and make things go more smooth, So it's definitely a learning process. And, it's not the easiest thing to do, but I am enjoying it, and I do enjoy, the before show, the show itself, and then the after show. Like the after show hang is a lot of fun, and just kind of reevaluating. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna change this, or especially when something works, that's great. It's the same when a new joke works. You do the same thing. You go back and you say, okay, I'm gonna tweak this a little bit, and just I'm gonna try this the next time. And so I guess it's kind of the same, when you're putting the show on.
Yeah, I guess the trial and error. Now, I have heard you talk on the phone to different clients. I just happen to be there when you're taking calls or making calls or whatever. And you are very good at that. You really sound like you're enjoying the conversation. I personally, like, there's a reason why I'm not booking a tour. Like when I get like when someone calls me, I almost panic. When I see like a number on my phone, I don't answer. I let the voicemail pick up and then I wait to see what it is so that I mentally can prepare. Michele, I know you love talking to people in person.
Yes.
But are you like, how are you about phone calls and booking when it comes to that type of situation?
Yeah. Do you see the tour stuff I do? I'm on Rhonda's show.
Gotcha.
I'm on other people's tours. I ran the She Can Laugh tour for 4 shows. That was it. That was the extent of my, yeah, I'm done with this. It's tough. I needed an assistant. So everybody needs an assistant for sure. I think if I had an assistant, I would be booking more tour things like that. But yeah, as an individual, nah, don't get me out of my creative space. It's too hard. But in person, I love talking to people. So yeah.
All day long, you will
All
talk
day.
to people in person. I'm the same. We're a couple of chatty Cathys, but I think Michele you win, man. You win. If we were in a competition of like talking to people, it's surprising how quick I run down and run out of like that energy. But
yeah, but there's a difference. There's a difference because you will talk an ear off of someone that's a friend, that's someone that you've known for a while. You can talk forever. When what you're saying, I'm a chatty Cathy, that's with people that are complete strangers.
Yes.
Complete strangers. I get their whole life story within 5 minutes, and then I'm introducing them to everybody else that I've met that day. So yeah, it's a little different. It's just a smudge.
My friends might appreciate it if I was more of the speak to strangers and let them walk away versus holding you captive on Marco Polo for 22 Marco Polo.
And that's why we have a podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Junebug Show. Oh.
That's right. Sometimes it is just my Marco Polo show. If we could just download that, I wouldn't have to make any online content. You can just share what I've been doing there. Rhonda, when it comes to the tour, if someone else was thinking about doing this, is there something that you wished you knew before you took that leap and jumped out there to do it that maybe you could, advise someone else on if they're looking at maybe trying to form their own tour?
The risk. There's a lot of risk. There's a lot of monetary risk, so our tour doesn't charge the host church. We don't charge them. And so the risk factor is on us, on me,
Right.
so that's the way we're doing it. So the tour pays for all the comedians, their accommodations, their actual pay, and their flights if we have to fly them in, and the tour pays for the sponsored ads, which is how we fill our seats. It's not, we don't make the church have the responsibility of getting the people in the seats, which is wonderful because for church, it's a great outreach because we are reaching out to the community surrounding that church. And so a lot of times people will walk through the doors that wouldn't normally walk through the doors, there are some people that have, have churches already, but there are also some people that have never, been to a church or haven't gone to a church in a long time. So it's a great way, a great introduction to the church. It's a great outreach. So for me, I see a win-win-win. It's a win for the church. It's a win for us, as the Funny Together tour. and it's a win for the audience. But it is, again, it's a lot of work. There is a lot of risk involved. So if someone wanted to start their own tour, it's definitely, they have to know upfront that they are risking, their life.
Yes.
So you have to know that going in, and you have to know, how much are you willing to put on the line.
Yeah.
So there is that. And just to be able to, you're going to have like both sides of your brain going, right? So you're because when you're producing a show, that's a whole different side. And then, so you have to be able to run the show, as well as to be able to just perform, and to do, when I'm on that stage, I want to do the best I possibly can for that audience. I want to just give them everything I have. And so, you have to be able to turn it off, turn off the producer side and turn on the performer side. And that's why it's imperative that you have people working with you that you can trust. You don't want a loose cannon on your show, because there goes your whole entire reputation. People, word of mouth gets around really fast. So it's imperative that you have people that you can trust on your show. And so I take that very seriously. I know who I'm working with. I know I can trust their material. I know that they're going to show up on time, and I know that they're going to, deliver on stage. So, so there is a lot of risk all the way around. So you just have to know that ahead of time. And if you're willing to take the risk, then go for it. But it is pretty fun to just go and not have to worry about it, and just go and be on someone else's tour, or to have, a gig that's already, booked, and you just go and show up and do it, and everybody else has to worry about everything else.
And it sounds like, it sounds like too, that, being knowledgeable that you're taking a risk, and also just how well prepared you have to be, because you can't just be winging it. You're the person who, you're doing the advertising, you're getting the butts in the seat. You're responsible when you get there to make sure that everything's set up the way that it's supposed to be, and that people are able to check in and all of that. So you've got to be somebody who's truly committed to it, when it comes in. Now, as you were talking about, the churches don't pay for this. I think a lot of times people are like, first of all, they're like, wait, what? And it feels like, well, what's the catch? You know what I mean? Like, really, what's the catch? But being on this tour and another tour, it kind of operates in the same model. I can honestly tell you there's not a catch. Literally it's, your venue is open to this tour, but, Rhonda's doing all the work, all the back end work to get it prepared to go in there. And then, as this show the other day, you said, okay, who all goes to church here? And what percentage would you say of hands went up just a couple of days ago?
I would say that it usually is anywhere from 80 to 90% of the people that do not attend that church. And so in this last particular show, I would say maybe, if I'm being generous, 15% of the people there actually attended that church.
So it really is, it's an outreach. That's an outreach. Michele had done that show before, and then that's why you brought me in, because you have so many comedians. You can actually do the same venue, the same church multiple times with just different talent. But what I think is cool is, I think sometimes maybe a church will be like, well, okay, well, what if they go to church somewhere else? Is it really outreach? I think it's both. I think that percentage of people, there's a percentage of those that are churched and go somewhere else, but your outreach is reaching out to other Christians and giving them a safe place to have a date night, to go. One of the couples that I met, it was her birthday gift. that her husband bought her tickets to a clean comedy show because they wanted to go somewhere that they can enjoy comedy and not have to worry about what they were, what they were going to be exposed to. So you're creating relationships with other Christians from other churches, but then also the door is open to truly bring people in for something that they may have never walked through the church doors in the first place. So I just wanted to kind of, point that out. But it's truly, because Rhonda, I'm a skeptical person. Michele, I'm always like, what's the real deal? And the real deal is, this is a great tour that brings quality, clean comedy into your community, whether it's a church, whether it's a theater, whatever venue that welcomes you in. And that's got to be something that you're pretty proud of, right?
I am. I am very proud of that because I know it's quality that they're going to receive, And so, and like I said, it's the whole win-win-win, it's definitely a win for the church. I mean, they don't have to, you have one of these top performers and you're paying big bucks for them.
Right.
And so, because then we know what some of that entails. So basically, the church is just opening the doors, and then it's definitely, what's in it for me is I don't have to sit and wait for my phone to ring. It's kind of paving my own way, so to speak. It's work, but it's also the work. And then there's the work I get to, when you get to do, you do what you have to do so you can do what you love to do. Right. And so, that's the great part. And I get to choose who I'm going to work with. So that's great. And I love that I can provide a job for, people that I know and love. And with
that being said, so right now, as Michele, I think you pointed out, maybe there's 19 people. You have a pretty big roster because you're doing this all over the country. So, obviously that makes it more financially feasible to have comedians that can just drive if possible, or, that you're not, or if in their own hometown and you're not paying for a hotel room or things like that. One of the questions when there's a tour or an event or whatever, as comedians, we're always like, who books that? How do you get on that? Now, the cool part is you've been doing stand-up comedy for quite a while. You have worked with all kinds of people across the board. So you do have a really strong base of comedians that you're working with right now. I know we have comics that listen to this and they may be like, oh, is she accepting more people? How do I get on there? That type of thing. Is that a thing that you're open right now, or is that something that you're full right now? And if there is an opening, you would let people know?
Yeah. So right now we are definitely full. I'm trying to just make sure I can work with the people who, who are already on the tour. If I add more people, then it's, I'm not going to be able to give the people that are already on the tour work. And so I will lose them, and so I don't want that to happen. So at this time, we are not accepting any applications, or we're not interviewing for positions. So thank you for bringing that up, because I don't want to get bogged down, and I don't like to say no to people either. But at this time, we are not bringing any more comedians onto the tour. There's a few that I haven't even had the opportunity to work with yet. So hopefully shows will, it'll grow, and when we start going on a rotating basis where we're doing that church again, for the fifth time. And now I'm running out of people that, have performed, then that would be different. But right now we are not accepting any new talent.
Got it.
So with that being said, two things. One, are you considering doing any international touring? So like, an easier one would be like Canada, and then second, what parts of the country do you need that you haven't had a tour yet that you would like to be able to have a couple of shows, like, California or Hawaii, or, like where in America do you want to like have some more shows happen?
So that's a great question, Michele. Anywhere. We've been doing a lot of shows lately in Florida, and I would like to do more of those, especially in the winter.
Yes.
But we have done some in the Northeast, and I'd like to build, because I'm from Rhode Island. I know you're like, where's that accent from? I'm from Rhode Island, and I would like to build the area around me. It's so funny. It's sometimes it's harder just in your own backyard. We're not part of the Bible Belt. We're not. We don't even have a belt. There's nothing holding up anything. People are. Maybe I'm starting to act like the conversation that Michele had earlier on with the pajamas. And so we don't want to go there, do we? No, we don't.
No pajamas. We're pantless. Go ahead. No belt.
No belts. Anyway, if you can't see Michele, she has her hand over her mouth right now, and I'm enjoying it.
I say that you listen to the show, Rhonda. I say it all the time. People are like, "Oh yeah, June, she's the wild card." No, it's Michele with the potty mouth. It's always Michele with the potty mouth.
Hold up. First and foremost, it's not a potty mouth. It's okay. No, we're gonna skip over that. Rhonda, what about international? Have you thought about doing like Canada or Mexico? Or
actually, right now, I really want to get established here in the States. Before I go to another country. I'd like to just kind of establish Funny Together in the United States right now, and then we'll think about if we want to go to another country. So because you're dealing with all kinds of different, that makes it difficult. So we're gonna stay here for now. That's the plan. But thank you for thinking bigger, because we are thinking bigger. We are thinking bigger. But right now it's nice because a lot of the smaller churches that are like 200 or more, whatever, don't get to have these performances because they're too small. So right now we are focused on, the 200 to 500, seats. So that's kind of nice too.
Yeah.
And then as we grow, we'll see. But right now that's kind of where we're focused at. So
yeah. So
go ahead.
I had another question. So do you recommend like some smaller churches, if they're listening, to like partner up with other churches in their area to have your tour come in? Would that be something that would help the whole community in itself, or for them to find out like, oh, you're the designated big church, let's go there, kind of a deal? Like, how would they, I guess my question is, how would a church say, hey, Rhonda, we want this tour in our area. How do we get you?
Right. So basically, I mean, you would just go to funnytogethertour.com. There's a contact form where you would just fill that out. I would get back to you. And then we just talk about it and see if it's feasible for all of us, if it's going to work for the church. I mean, we have to take everything into consideration, because, why can't you do a smaller church, like a real small church? Well, because we have to pay the comics, you know what I mean? Like, they don't come for free, so this is a job for the comedians, and it does cost to get them there and to provide accommodations for them. So that's why we do have to charge. And so we have to have at least a number of seats. And then we try to add on other churches in the area too, so that we can you know, we don't want to be in the red when we leave.
Right.
That's defeating the whole purpose too, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome, Rhonda. Both Michele and I are just honored to get to be a part of this tour. It's so much fun to get to do comedy with your friends and do quality comedy, and also to get to watch as you stepped out on faith, as you did take that risk. The reality is that not everybody does what you're doing because it's hard, because it's really hard. I love that earlier you said, you know, you have to do what you have to do to get to do what you want to do. And we're getting to watch that. We're getting to watch that grow, and that's really exciting to see. And I think that, you know, folks really do go onto Rhonda's tour page. You know, check it out. As Michele scrolls it at the bottom, it's funnytogethertour.com. You can get more information about the tour. You can reach out to Rhonda. Again, she's great on the phone. She loves talking to people. She's not like me. She's not freaking out and not answering. She's going to answer. And yeah, just find out if this could be a great thing for your community. Even if it's not a church venue, you know, if you just have the heart to bring clean comedy to your community, whether it's a theater or a club or whatever, you know, make sure that you reach out to Rhonda and see, you know, what you can work out to bring the Funny Together tour to your area. Rhonda, it's been so awesome to get to have you come on and to spend time with us and have a real, Michele, a real Rhonda Corey moment. Michele does the silent scream.
I know. I was like, this is a podcast, right? Because no one can hear those screams and applause. I think that was like almost like an applause kind of meme. She was kind of memeing like, like the crowd goes wild. But then like you hear nothing. You hear nothing.
I'm trying not to interrupt. I'm trying to let June just talk. So I was like, just animating, you know, Rhonda Corey moment. I'm like, there it is on the screen. So I was trying not to say anything. I was just, yay.
Okay, let's try one more time. Michele, how exciting was it to have Rhonda here for a real live Rhonda Corey moment? Go ahead.
Woohoo.
Wow. Yeah.
It was fabulous. It was absolutely fantastic. I see, and I didn't hear that was a question the first time through. That's why I was just like, "Wow, look at that!" I had no idea. So let's try that a third time.
Okay, last time, Michele, isn't it exciting to have Rhonda Corey here for a real live Rhonda Corey moment?
Oh my gosh, this was the best episode ever. I'm super excited that we got to have the real Rhonda Corey right here in the studio, which is, you know, her at her house because it's just on StreamYard. What? Anyway, no, it was fabulous. It was fantastic. I'm so glad that you asked the questions that you asked, June, and I'm so glad that Rhonda answered the questions. And I'm even more thankful that you and I get to be on this amazing tour, for Rhonda Corey, the Funny Together tour. And so, yeah, check it out and hire her. And so if you hire her, remember you're hiring us at the same time. So, so do it. Get on there and sign up.
That was great, Michele. Great. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Awesome job. Hey, you can also follow Rhonda Corey. Is it Rhonda Corey Comedy? Rhonda? Yeah, so Rhonda Corey Comedy. There's also Instagram and Facebook for the Funny Together tour. So yeah, just check out Rhonda Corey. Follow her on all of her platforms and on her Funny Together tour. Rhonda, Michelle's going to kick you to the green room for a few minutes. I did see a shadowy figure behind you a little bit ago. So you just text us if you're in danger. If that's not, if that's an intruder, then let us know. And I don't know that we'll do anything, but at least we know.
No. Shadow
it's my husband, I think. So if not, I won't do a silent scream. I will definitely let you know, and then you can call the authorities. So,
perfect.
Yeah,
Rhonda, nice. Thank you for being on the show. We love you.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I love you, and I love this podcast. You know, I am a regular listener. So
yes.
Little shout out to all our listeners in Rhode Island. Thank you, Rhonda Corey. And I kicked her backstage and she's waving goodbye. You can't see that, but I can. Hey, June, I have a question.
Yes.
What's your tip of the week?
Oh, the tip of the week is check and double check.
What is this?
Double check. I am the worst about leaving things. I leave things behind everywhere that I go. And just recently at the show that I did with Rhonda on the Funny Together tour, I left an entire bag of makeup and a bottle of poopery in the green room bathroom. I sure did. So
not a sponsor. Not a sponsor. Poopery.
So yeah.
What did you do? Like, you didn't even say to me, hey, go back and get it. Nothing. Because I kind of live in the area. I mean, poopery is worth going back to get.
Yeah, my makeup is dollar store makeup. So really it was an hour and a half drive back to go get the bag. And it was a little purse that I probably had for 10 years that had the makeup in it. So I just had to call it a loss. Rhonda gave me my eyebrows, or courtesy of Rhonda Corey's eyebrow pencil that she gave me at the hotel room. And I just did little redneck poor girl trick. And I used my lipstick for my blush and put a little color on my face until I got off the plane at the next location and just bought a few more bottles of dollar store makeup and moved on with my life. But make sure when you're working at another venue, make sure that you always check and double check. This is for comedians. The green room, check the bathroom. One thing I hate is when a venue is kind enough to leave us drinks and water and snacks and things like that. And you get ready to leave and you see that like comedians have trashed the restroom or left any kind of that behind. And I'm sure that, if Rhonda was still on here, she would have higher expectations from the people that are on the tour with her, because it reflects you've got to know that whatever you do, whatever you say and how you behave when you're on that tour, not only reflects on you, but they're looking at the person who booked you for, how you carry yourself. So just check and double check, clean up behind yourself. Don't be like me and leave a whole bag of stuff somewhere in Missouri, because it's rude and it costs you financially. So that's my tip of the day.
Did you call and can they mail it? Are you going to get it mailed?
No. Rhonda was like,
No?
She mentioned doing that. And I'm like, it would cost more to put that little purse in a box and ship it to you. It's too much trouble. I was out just a little bit of cash to go replace what, and I mean, it's cheap makeup that I keep forever. So it was probably a good time for all my blush brushes to be thrown away. And it was probably time. I think God was doing me a favor. He's like, come on, Jude.
Yeah. Well, it would have been an hour and a half closer for me to be that much closer to a Buc-ee's. So I would have been okay with, I got to stop at Buc-ee's now. Get some of that chocolate. I'm just saying, I could have picked it up.
I'll try to make sure next time I leave something behind, it's close to a Buc-ee's. So that would be tip number 2. If you don't check and double check, hold your stuff close to Buc-ee's so Michele can go pick it up for you. All right, Michele, let's close this one out with, I'm sure, what's going to be one of the worst jokes ever. Go ahead.
Wait, it's not, it's like, you know what, like right now, it's kind of, we're in the springtime, which this whole arrival of spring, I'm just going to say it's, such a relief.
No.
Okay. How about this one? So it's wedding season, right? My kid is engaged, your kid is engaged, Rhonda's kid is engaged, everybody's engaged, right? So here's my question. So like when dandelions get married,
yes,
did you know that is called a weeding?
Okay. All right, friends. Thank you for listening to the Laugh Support Podcast. Make sure you follow Michele VanDusen on all her social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and YouTube at Michele's Comedy. You can find me pretty much anywhere. That is June Bugs Comedy. And again, check out the Funny Together tour. Also, you can buy one of these cool t-shirts at the tour too. This is one of my favorite comedy t-shirts that I have in my closet. It's such a good t-shirt. So check it out. Whoa, where did you go?
I'm still here. Hey, don't forget you got to follow Junebug Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, Junebug Comedy, and YouTube, all those things. And make sure that you follow us on Lap Sport Podcast. And if you are listening to this, you think, what is she talking about? I want to see what that shirt is. You can watch us on YouTube. You guys, June, can you still hear me, June? That's the question.
Can you not see me?
I can see you. So go ahead and
here's what crazy was your joke about the leaves. My whole screen blipped out and it was just a picture of a forest. I don't know what kind of power your horrible jokes have now, but it's freaking me out. So Michele, I'm going to say goodbye now. Jesus and Junebug loves you. Thanks for listening and join us on the next amazing episode of the Laugh Support Podcast. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.